I think they're kind of the team or just players that if they do good 1 week, they're like, okay, we don't need to work as hard as we worked this week, so just kind of slack a bit, and next week they say, oh, we kind of screwed, we can't win right now, we need to work again. So I think that they're those kind of teams, and when it's going to come to playoffs, I think they're going to show up again, because you cannot slack for playoffs. So.
Interesting point Ghost Pepper is making here, because Kikis in his statement when he left the Unicorns of Love was also talking about how there was a difference in work ethic from some of the members. Now Ghost Pepper talking about how some of them potentially could maybe take a little bit easy after a good week. Obviously at playoffs we know Unicorns can show up. We're just going to have to see if they can get into playoff first and then prove once again they're a great best out of 5 team.
Absolutely. We'll have to see if they brought their A game today as they look to take on a Gambit. Let's take a look at the Pink Power Ponies in the blue side. It will be Visit Chachi in the top lane, Gilius in the jungle. That means we've got Power of Evil in the mid, Vardag's the AD carry, support is Hillisang, and of course, their coach, Sheepy.
Yeah, and Gilius, yesterday, tough start. I mean, shaky start. He first picked the Lee Sin. It's one of his main picks. Obviously, he's a great mechanical jungler. But SK Gaming, they shut him down completely. It wasn't just because of Gilius. This was also SK as a team that just won the laning phase, allowed Svensson to invade in. And here's the thing for me. If you lose the laning phase to SK, you're not going to enjoy playing against Gambit, because they are even better in that laning phase. And Diamond can look to do the same against Gilius. Nidalee pick, same deal as Svensson played. Let's see if that's going to be a factor.
Yeah, I think that'll definitely be something that'll be very telling. Gilius has had this trial by fire since his debut here in LCS, and it's going to be rough for him now. Unicorns, they've still had some poor decision-making. We called him inconsistent last split. Now it's just kind of like all over the place.
Right.
From behind, they don't really seem to have any direction. There's not so much shot calling as there is running around.
That is a weird thing. When you watch the Unicorns of Love, they can have these games where everything is super controlled, but then a game like yesterday, suddenly they're like 2v4 fighting a dragon and just end up giving a few kills, and you're like, it doesn't make any sense. Obviously, if they do manage to win here, or whoever wins this game between Gambit and Unicorns, will put them in 4th place alone, also with Giants losing, so it's a very important game for the playoff here and for seeding in the playoff, of course.
Super high stakes, of course. Now, looking to eclipse the Unicorns here in the standings with a win is, of course, Gambit Gaming. That means you've got Cabochard in the top lane, Diamond Prox in the jungle, mid Betsy, AD Forgiven, support Gosu Pepper, and the coach Sean's. This team.
Yeah. This team.
They can work some wonders. They're getting there. Diamond had a super strong game as Nidalee. That Skirmishes Runeglaive, he went Abyssal, obviously a different build than Svenskeren, but his Nidalee, man, was just nasty.
He was following amazing around in the early game and managed to counter gank him quite a few times. He got so many early kills, 9 kills himself on the Nidalee. And yeah, he's built Runeglaive from Skirmishes Saber, so it's again this dual power here. It's in your face, then he goes to Abyssal Scepter, then he went for Hourglass. So it's tanky. It's somewhat like almost Bruiser-ish Nidalee build, where often we see other players go for more, defensive sit back and poke. Diamond is in your face over and over and over. He's chasing for these kills. You see how aggressive he's playing. That is what Svensson did against Gilius yesterday. Why wouldn't Diamond try and do the same if he can get his hands on Nidalee?
I think it might end up being a ban. We'll have to see. But just looking at the results from yesterday, Gambit, they beat the 2nd place team in the league. Unicorns lost to the one that was all the way back in 9th. If you just look at yesterday, it starts to look a little bit grim for Unicorns. Gambit have got to be playing with some serious confidence.
Yeah, Huni said in his interview yesterday as well how he fears Gambit a lot. He's afraid of playing them in playoffs, because this team is getting so much respect from everyone else. Sean's as a coach has been having a fantastic impact. The players are praising him. Diamond talking about how he's now been stepping up more as a shot caller as well for the team, and he's learning a lot from Sean's. And everyone seems to be afraid also because they have some fantastic individual players, and that's some of the things we highlighted about Gambit in the start. Like when you have Forgiven as an AD carry, you have Cabochard as a top lane, like right there, you got 2 of the best players in their position in Europe. And then, of course, you're backed up by Ghost Pepper and Diamond, who has so much experience. And then Betsy is the only guy we still need to see more consistent performances from. But I feel like Gambit is trying to find a role that fits him. Just haven't really gotten there yet.
Yeah, so altogether, as we get ready, we're going to take a little bit of time to get into this game. We have a minor keyboard issue we're going to take a look at. But for Gambit, you never really know what to expect just because they've been able to do some things that not a lot of people are really able to do. For example, win on Lucian. That's always a big start to think.
Yeah.
Forgiven's kind of forcing himself onto the meta in this regard. And yes, Graves, you could argue maybe that's a little bit useful in that situation, but he just plays so well around. He wasn't even the guy going in front, though. He wasn't hard carrying. He's fit himself into this team in such a good way that nobody really has any idea what to expect in a given game versus Gambit.
But that's been one of the main changes for Forgiven. It's no longer, oh, Forgiven, you want to carry, so which champion do we need you to play so we can build a comp around you so you can just do whatever you want? No. It's more about, oh, Capuchat, what do you need to play up here? What jungler can we get for early pressure? What control mage can Betsy play in the mid lane? Then Forgiven kind of has to fit in his pick. And very often, it's a safe AD carry. We've seen a lot of Corki. We've seen Lucian, obviously, even Sivir. Things that can kind of handle themselves because Diamond is using his time on the top side of the map. He's ganking for Capuchat. Capuchat played Shen yesterday, and I think Diamond was up there like 4 or 5 times in the early game ganking, even though it was a Shen. But that enabled Gambit then to play the entire map because suddenly Capuchat could start using ulti aggressively, join down in that bottom lane, and it was all just set up very smart from Gambit. And also as a team, one of the main things Sean's has focused on is like communication and then vision control. Diamond, now that Kikis is gone, is the jungler who plays the most wards in the EU LCS per game. Goes to Pepper, is now the second, the supporter plays the second most. Only Vander is ahead of him. So we have 2 guys here who's playing the support role, the backup role, and they're just providing so much map control that it allows Capuchat, allows Betsy, allows Forgiven to play the carry role and have enough information on the enemy team to make the right decisions.
Absolutely true. And you know, when you've got somebody who's coming in a little bit more green like Gilius here, his pathing is a little bit predictable. You saw Svenskeren abuse that incredibly well yesterday. Diamond has all the blueprints he needs if he does want to just go ahead and do solo kills in the jungle on top of continuing to put that vision down and keep Unicorns not only in the dark, but keep his own team completely well informed.
Yeah, again, it is what he's playing around, but we have still seen some bad games from Gambit, even lately, where like against Giants as an example, where things didn't click for them. So it's not picture perfect yet, but it's definitely getting better. Unicorns, on the other hand, though, you have a new jungler. Kikis was a big part of this team. He was probably the most consistent member for them. Him and Hylissang, I would say, together had some fantastic performances, and their synergy was great. That has to be built up with a new jungler now. We know they've also signed 2 other subs, LX and Horo, so they might be like trying in and out and maybe testing what option works the best for them, but Gilius is here right now. I don't want to blame him for the game yesterday, but it was a tough start, and he needs to bounce back today.
Yeah, and they definitely need to do all they can to make sure they secure that playoff berth. Because remember, this is a team that, with all of these members plus Kikis, were able to get a 2nd place finish in spring. As a result, they are sitting on a big pot of championship points to try and make a berth towards Worlds. If you make playoffs, if you make 3rd, 4th, whatever place you get in that mix, you can put yourself up in a very comfortable position to try and qualify through points alone, and at the very least, you will definitely make a run in the regional qualifier.
Which obviously is going to be played after our summer finals in Stockholm. We will have the regionals coming in, and that's the key for Unicorns of Love. They are a team who performs better in best out of 5.
Historically.
Preparing, and obviously because they tend to have these wacky picks, you know, new picks coming in, so it's tough to prepare pick and ban phase against them. So they just gotta make it to that playoff spot. That's what they're aiming for, and beating Gambit would almost secure it for them.
It will be the start today. Let's see if they can rise above some of the consistency issues that continue to plague them, and now with the roster changed around, first ban off the board. It is going to be the Fizz. Everyone fears it from Capuchat.
Yeah. We almost start seeing that banning out Capuchat. I mean, he just has another pick ready. Guy with a very, very deep champion pool. Rise been taken away, very standard on purple side. It is still a fantastic strong pick despite the Rod of Ages changes. That's the pick we talked about with the Nidalee against Diamond. Svenskeren used it yesterday to full effect against Gilius. Now it's being banned away from Unicorn. So still a lot of the normal power picks open.
Yeah, there's no Rek'Sai ban here. There's no Gragas ban. The 80 carries are completely untouched. Have to see what Unicorns spend their last ban on as the Shen ban comes in. Taken away. We won't be seeing any more double teleports today.
We might see teams try and set up this situation where Sivir and Rumble are both open. Seeing as now Rumble, 100% pick ban on 5-13. Alistar as well, obviously, but that means suddenly we got our first pick to Sivir, but then we got 80 carries like Kalista open as well, obviously not for these 2 teams. Funny enough, Unicorns, the team who bans Kalista the most. They don't trust Invadax to play the carry role on it. Forgiven obviously doesn't play Kalista, so they also ban it very often on the side of Gambit. Ban Sivir in the end. She's the 80 carry, being targeted almost in every single game, and she should be.
Despite that, Unicorns are still going to go ahead and pick up the cow. It is Hylissang's favorite support. This split has played it 5 times previously. Gambit Gaming, they have their pick of the top-tier junglers without the Nidalee being amongst them. Diamondprox looks to be favoring the Rek'Sai. We'll see if he takes it in the end.
Could also go for Rumble for Coppershot if he wants to get that AP top laner that could enable a potential Varus pick for Betsy in the mid lane. Otherwise, Azir and Victor has been two of his go-to picks, and I like him on these control mages where he can play more passive in the early game, just be a bit of a farm machine. But then once we get to these team fights where Gambit as a team normally really shines, he has a big impact for them. Rek'Sai would not be surprising for Diamond.
Oh, we've seen this before.
We've seen this before where you send the Gragas into the top lane for Coppershot, and you do this. The reason Gambit is doing this is just to take away the two tier 1 junglers. The thing is, Gilius is more than happy playing Lee Sin. So I don't feel like against a team like Unicorns or Love, you have to take both their tier 1 junglers and then swap one of them into the top lane, because it's been very mixed results whenever Coppershot has been playing the Gragas.
It's an interesting Gambit for Gambit. We'll see if it pays off for them. But for Unicorns of Love, Gilius can go ahead and take that Lee Sin. They don't necessarily need to right now. There's probably little threat that we see Lee Sin being taken by Gambit after all of this. My real thought here was where are they going to go with Power of Evil? Because arguably this is their strongest lane matchup. Yeah,
Power of Evil is definitely the guy they're looking to be the carry. I was about to say Corki as a pick. I like very much now with Sivir being banned away, and also due to the fact that you are expecting this Gragas to be in the top lane. So Gambit is not running a hard engaged top laner. Gragas can obviously like flash body slam, or if he gets a flank in with his ulti, but it's not always as reliable. More secondary engage. Very often you see him even more focused on potential disengage. So getting Corki in as this poke champion, again, you're trying to enable potential physical damage dealers in the mid lane. That's a good pickup for the Unicorns a lot. And I like it when Vardax is not on the carry as well. Power of Evil is the guy you normally want to put your trust into.
Yeah, I think this definitely should work out well for them. Jarvan coming in. We did see it in the top lane already. Wouldn't be surprised if we do see it in the jungle as well. That has been for a while ago now, where it was historically a little bit more popular. Gambit, as the timer ticks down, they look to be taking their mid and their AD carry, and they do. Betsy on the Ahri. Forgiven. Back on Lucian.
So Lucian again, after winning yesterday, breaking.
Preferring it over Graves.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree on that one for sure. Graves into what could be a tank top lane as well. Jarvan and Alistar is not exactly fun when you can't burst down any of these big tanks, but for Gambit, it's always fun to see the lack of Kalista, so they go for Lucian instead of being open. Obviously, Unicorns didn't prefer it either. We talked about earlier with Vardax. So Gambit, again, setting up for this skirmish composition where they're trying to play around the fact that they can set up kills in these lanes very effectively. We know the Lucian pick, once you get a BF sword for Forgiven, he can start playing fairly aggressive in it. Betsy on Ahri here can look for these charms and look for the big plays. And that's what Gambit likes to do, very skirmish focused in that sense. Also with Gragas being a split push up in the top lane.
So with that, they've got a Maokai now for Visit Chachi, and Power of Evil will have an Orianna. And I must say, it's not really been my favorite champion to watch him on, and he hasn't really had the greatest performance either.
Orianna, yeah, I mean, the thing is, Power of Evil plays a very passive build. It's tier into Nomicon normally when we see it, so it's very slow scaling. Massive impact in the late game once it gets there, but Unicorns of Love as a team have been very bad in the early to mid game. That's been the main weakness for them this split, and that's why Orianna hasn't fit in for Power of Evil. Now he's going to it again. It's a massive teamfight comp from them, though.
It absolutely is. That's the caveat here, is they have so many ball delivery systems. They've got a Cap, they've got a Jarvan, they've got a Maokai. If they can wombo their combo, it's going to hurt Gambit.
It will. I mean, if you can lock down one of these carries, Gambit, though, is fairly mobile. Lucian, dash, Ahri, triple dash for himself.
Oh!
That was bad yesterday, so that's now... Okay. I'm seeing two things here. First, look at the side of Power of Evil. There's a smite at the moment on this Orianna. That's potential rune wave. I'll talk about that in-game. Coppershot looks to be going for Gangplank. It was banned yesterday by Origin against him. And he's not running Flash, he's also running Smite, so this is also going to be Runeglaive, Gangplank. And again, I'll talk about that in game 2, because these two champions here, that's going to be some fun builds, and Ghost of Pepper getting a support Gragas.
Oh, man. You know, we've been hearing rumblings, too, that this is a Coppershot solo queue special, so we'll get to see what he's able to bring it out to the LCS. Man, this is going to be a good thing. The stakes have gotten higher to this show.
Oh, I'm not sure what to expect from this Gangplank.
Only in a Gambit Unicorns game.
I played around with the build, Runeglaive into Static Shift into Infinity Edge, because you turn your parley into magic damage due to the Runeglaive. Like late game, your crits are like 1500. It's insane.
Yeah.
But
it's all magic damage.
But you have to get there. Like that's the key thing.
But we talked about late game. If we get to that for both teams, it's going to be nuts. All right, guys, you know what to do for this one. Go ahead and hit us up at LOL Esports. UOL win, GMB win. We've got some interesting picks this game. Who is going to take it to 4th place as we get ready to load onto the Rift? We will find out shortly.
I just want to get in game. I want to talk about what these guys are doing here. Power of Evil, small delay, guys.
Yeah, we have a really quick pause. Don't let it kill the hype.
Gives us a timing. So Power of Evil.
No, let's talk. We have time to talk now.
Runeglaive, Orianna. The build I've seen is Runeglaive into Nash's Tooth. It's now been buffed here, or been changed a little bit here in 5.13, gives a bit more AP. And then basically, because you now get your Sheen proc, obviously from the Runeglaive, you get the attack speed from the Nash's Tooth, and then you get the damage from it, and you have your passive as an Orianna. You become an auto-attacking Orianna. That's your main damage in the mid game. Then you go in for more standard AP items later on, like you need Death Cap, you're going to need Void Staff, and that's where you become again this AoE mage. But building up to that point, it's like it's auto-attacking, and it can deal a lot of damage if you can sit there and keep hitting. The problem is you very often get zoned out.
All right, guys. Brief delay. Back into the game as Deficio is able to explain what is sure to be the weirdness of it. And here we are on to the Rift. The Auto Orianna and the Gangplank with Smite coming out the gates for Gambit Gaming, hoping to take themselves into 4th place.
Smite and no flash in the top lane for Capushot. He's going to be such an easy target to lock down for Jarvan once he hits level 6. And early invade here.
Dangerous.
Gilius throwing down the flag.
We've seen a couple of near face checks and full face checks that have resulted in the face checker living, but ooh, that's close for Gilius.
All right, so Gangplank instead here. Also Runeglaive. It's not going to be some Cinderhawk. No. That's not for men. Capushot here.
Crit with magic damage.
Runeglaive. We're going to talk Static Shift, 2nd item. We're going to talk Infinity Edge, 3rd item. Takes a long time to get there. But then again, the key is that you turn your parley into magic damage through the Runeglaive, and that's your main damage source. After the Infinity Edge, we can potentially see him go for a Void Staff, unless he wants to stack even more AP. You're going to have to go for Banshee if you want a defensive item, but that's the key components, the first 3, Runeglaive, Static Shift, and Infinity Edge. Laning phase, though, you're farming. Like, that is your job, you're farming. And you try and avoid ganks. You can always max your W, just eat them oranges here, just gain HP back, but you are such an easy target to gank. Hillersang and Varys going to be spotted on the ward here. No surprise Unicorns want to swap against this Gangplank. Gambit, though, setting up a trap.
They're waiting.
Oh, Capushot's going to show up.
And so does the Rek'Sai. So Diamond Prox finds Hillersang with the rest of the team. There's the Frost Bomb to zone him away.
Crazy damage.
Yeah, that's a lot early. They're going to go ahead and grab this blue buff early on. Well, let's take a break from the wackiness that's sure to follow and take a look back to week number 4 when these two teams last met up. It was a Unicorns victory. Remember, Gambit still, I would say they were improving, but they were still struggling a little bit in this game, and you can see Unicorns did take them down fairly handily in 29 minutes.
Very slow-paced, very low-kill game. Slow-paced for 29 minutes. Definitely not one of the greater games for Gambit, but that's what they've been improving on. That's why they've been more consistent in the last few weeks. So, we also have a Gragas support, by the way, something we haven't seen in a while. From GoToPaper, obviously, your early game trading is very strong.
Cancelled.
But you are an all-in champion in that sense. Your Q poke has been changed quite a lot. It's not as effective as it used to be. Your CC comes from being able to body slam in as well, obviously. Meaning if he has to go all in, Unicorns might be able to gank it. But it's against a melee support as well in the Alistar. So that's why I think it can work for GoToPaper.
Not being punished as much. So now, we will see the full lane swap completed as Capushot finally goes down to the bottom side, blue buff in tow. They gave it to him very early. So this was all part of the plan. We'll see what happens as the Gangplank panel unfolds. Chachi should be able to lock him down for a little bit, minus the oranges, but we'll have to take a look at that later on. I mean, the laning phase is not what this game's going to be about.
No, because this is just going to be Capushot farming for 25-30 minutes. We might not even get to see him before he hits 30 minutes. Maybe he's going to fight for your ulti.
Global.
Sure, that's what he got. That's
we haven't
what he
seen
got.
Gangplank for a while, just throwing out the public service announcement.
That is true. but he's just going to sit back playing Farm Simulator for the next 20-25 minutes, play safe. You don't really want to fight anything because you got to get that Runeclave first of all. Then you got to get some damage after it. Chachi, though, is invading in with Gilius here. Our Smite Orianna has not followed on the side of Power People. Now, obviously, the problem for Smite Orianna is you're lacking a useful summoner in most situations, not running a heal or barrier, not even ignite if you want more lane pressure. And it also is a slow scaling build. And again, it's going to be very auto attack focused in the mid game before he starts getting these big items late. Gambit have a lot of ways to try and get to him from Rek'Sai Tunnel. Gragas obviously knocking him back, and then he's a squishy target.
Still, it's a safer champion pick, but we have to see if Gambit take that incentive to move mid and make that action. I feel like they're happy to farm up as long as possible, not just in that bottom lane, but all across the board. Betsy, if he can get a catch, he'll be happy with this Ahri, but both teams, I feel like the onus isn't necessarily on them to make a lot of huge early plays outside of counter jungling, which is what they've been doing.
Yeah, and obviously Gambit is happy to sitting and farming for now. Cabochard wants to farm, Betsy and Forgiven wants to complete an item first, and then you can start seeing some aggressive plays. Goes to Pepper and Forgiven together. Combine that, add in Diamond procs, and suddenly you can start setting up very effective ganks from them. But of course Diamond is around the lane of Cabochard, as we always see from him, protecting him. Goes to Pepper though, take damage.
A little low there, yeah. Hilly is going to take some damage in return, but he heals it right on up. Chachi's throwing a sapling around the back to see if there's any counter pressure. Diamond is in the Unicorn jungle, and he's cruising for what looks to potentially be a bruising on Visit Chachi, but he'll be safe for now.
Of course, Cabochard just farming, shooting these minions, getting the extra gold. We're going to have to see later once he has the Runeclave if he's going to start taking away camps as well from Diamond, just to really speed up his farm. That's one of the things about Runeclave that you always have to remember. If you do get to take down these jungle camps, that will speed up your build towards, 3 items and so on, because you get that extra gold from it. But then you deny that from your own jungler. That's always the risk, unless you get into the enemy jungle and start counter jungling with it. But that's not really what you pick an Orianna for. You pick her for a safe laning phase, a strong late game. You don't pick her to invade into the enemy jungle as the Orianna.
Especially if you're Power of Evil. Does like his builds that take some time. So it has been a moment of non-aggression, a bit of it. I want to see if Gilius decides to make some moves. He has hung around in this top side, but after a little bit of early invades, he's spotted by that ward. I think he knows it as he backs away. Now the jungler having a massive impact on the lanes. They're really focused on jungling themselves and out-jungling each other. And this 2v2 between Gosu, Pepper, and Elisang just trying to force their bulk into the situation while both their AD carries continue to farm up.
Right.
Slight lead for Forgiven here, but it's not massive.
And not really been any openings for the junglers. I mean, you saw when Cabochard were finally pushing the bottom lane, Diamond was there, near him, he was close, he was shadowing the lane, basically saying, if Gilish, if you show up, I'm going to be here for the counter gank. Elisang though, again, going aggressive. TP.
Oh, there's a TP for Chachi right now. Forgiven might give Gosu Pepper up, hoping he is forgiven for it. This could be first blood. The fat man just casually walks to his death, and the sapling is not necessary. First blood over to the core.
Nice little TP setup. Obviously means Cabochard is left alone in the bottom lane, and that's not exactly what you want to do if you are a Unicorns aloft, but they want to start speeding up this early game a little bit. Very aggressive play, and it paid off. Forgiven forced away as well. And look who's getting all the minions.
Long distance farming, thanks to Gangplank. He's got to get all the money. Healed up, no, that's not going to happen. He grips himself some CS, getting him over the hump that Vizichachi had there. And he gets some free pressure on the tower now.
It is normally not worth it to use a teleport for just 1 kill. And it wasn't worth it in this case. Even though Unicorns got the first blood, Cabochard got a lot of farm from it. He's the guy we're going to follow. No pressure on him in the lane. And Gambit got to defend the tower. Obviously, Unicorns as well wanted to swap the lanes around. That's why they could go for this play. And wanted to see if they can get more pressure on this Gangplank, and also try and avoid this Lucian once he gets the BF sword. But Gambit can just push out this bottom lane, this top wave, go back to base, get your BF sword for Forgiven, and walk down the bottom lane, and you have the 2v2 lanes again. And then suddenly you also have a TP advantage.
Yeah, easy peasy. Hardly anyone's really taken a back trip as 8 minutes are elapsed on the clock. Still very even in the gold count despite that first blood for Unicorns. Gambit have gotten some serious farming edges. A couple of skirmishers already. The Runeclave is picked up for Cabochard as he looks to take his place up top a little prematurely. Still wants to keep this 1v1 going. He's under no threat And now Chachi's got no teleport for a few moments as well, so they may have some more global pressure.
Yeah, Capuchot is going to look to 1v1 entire game long. He's going to be a split pusher for Gambit and have the global ulti and of course the TP, and then late game, once he starts completing these items, he can start looking for these carries. If we see like a 1200, 1500 crit in the late game, don't be surprised. That is what this build will do. But again, this also means that Unicorns Aloft have allowed him to get to that late game, because he doesn't offer a whole lot right now. And that is what Unicorns have to be able to punish.
There is a timer ticking away. However, sometimes it's hard to know when these strange choices come into play. Tower's going to be falling in the bottom courtesy of Vardag's Gatling gun. But if there's anybody that should know how to play against really weird champions, you would have to think it's Chachi. Admittedly, he's not been playing them lately, but still.
And this gangplank thing has been a solo queue deal with the Rune Glaive. Something we have seen for the last few weeks after Rune Glaive was introduced. But Gambit had a very slow rotation back to the lanes. We knew that Unicorns were sending Vardex down to the bottom lane. Forgiven has to be careful as well, by the way. He might get destroyed. He gets headbutt into the tower. Oh boy.
Oh, enticing. He's going to burn his flash. Fancy fingers. Forgiven gets away, or he frankly shouldn't have.
But just talking about it again here, Gambit very slow to swap him back to the bottom lane. Forgiven wanted one more wave top before he recalled. Then he got interrupted by Chachi. And then he's finally recalled. It meant that Vardex, because he was there so early, could take down a free tower in that bottom lane. And no response from Gambit because of it. So they were just slower. And look at his auto attacks.
Ooh, Rune Glaive is good, huh?
Really doing a whole lot though, Betsy.
He had the shockwave first, admittedly, but a little bit of trading all around the board now. I
still want to see if he's going to get that Nashus as the second item. That's the
keep an eye on it.
Yeah, that's going to be the thing. Otherwise, his Rune Glaive won't make a whole lot of sense.
Forgiven just he just tanks the phosphorus. It's okay. I can trade better than Vardex. This guy's got no fear.
Gambit's going to be annoyed though about the fact they lost that bot lane tower for basically no reason. There was multiple ways for them to recall earlier. Forgiven had enough for BF Sword. Normally you're talking around the 55 CS mark.
There's Julius is going to go through the lane, gets the dunk on. There's the ultimate from Cabochart, but he's got no defensive summoner. Maybe he can get one going down with him, but no. Gilius is going to flash away. They do burn a couple of summoners for that, though.
This is what we talked about, though, Pyro. Once Jarvan hits level 6 against a no-flash target, how is Cabochart ever going to escape that gank? And Unicorns can look to do it again and again and again to shut him down and to get this Maokai fed instead. Now TP soon back up. Power Evil have to flash away though.
Power of Evil zoned out of his mid lane thanks to Diamond Prox and Betsy. Dodges out the charm, but this tower might just fall. He does clear away the minions, so he'll keep it alive for the moment. As Diamond Prox sends a parting shot his way, Cabochart teleports right back into the action, and he's Rune Glaving it up.
Means the Unicorns will have the advantage now by using Chachi's TP coming back up, so they managed to get that kill from the first spot. They swapped faster back to the lane, so Unicorns Aloft just been a step ahead, making use of the moves. Betsy, though, is winning this mid lane. This is what we also mentioned with the Smite. As a summoner spell in the lane, you don't really get a whole lot of value from it. He's even going skirmishes Saber. So he's looking to one-on-one people on this one here. Get the true damage and everything from Power of Evil. Are we going to get a split-pushing Orianna?
We've seen stranger things this game. I think Deficio, nothing is out of the question. 12 minutes on the clock. Rek'Sai scream, the wave race. As Diamond looks to potentially move in here, get some vision for the Dragon. Remember, they're lacking their teleport for a few minutes. If they can keep Unicorns off of it, that will help them if they should want to fight for it. Diamond Prox going to go on a little bit of a counter jungling mission himself, though.
Unicorns is saying, though, they don't care about early Dragons because they're swapping Vardex back to this top lane. They want to keep trying to push in against Cabochart and force him to use his ulti defensively to clear out waves. They might even just go and kill him again. Ulti's ready now for Gilius.
Yeah, he's just in tower range. Shilasang still gets the headbutt. The oranges are on. There's the ult. We're going to see Dunk Part 2. Cabochart's taken out. Meanwhile, Power of Evil is going to get taken down in the mid as Betsy tanks an inner turret. It's a 1-for-1 on the map. You can see where people are focusing their attention.
Unicorns Aloft is making some nice moves in the early game. However, the fact that Power of Evil is losing his lane to Betsy is such a big problem. That was an easy tower in the mid lane into a gank onto Power of Evil. He used the flash earlier. So Gambit is getting gold despite Cabochart trying, or well, despite the efforts of Unicorns to shut down Cabochart and maybe take a top lane tower as well. Gambit respond mid tower because they won the lane. And then bot lane as well, because people swapped away from Forgiven here. But Vardax, he's trying to snowball the early game. He's trying to open up the map by taking out these early outer turrets and maybe put Coppershot in a position where he can't really farm as safely, because if Coppershot ever overextends, he has no mobility, or he has no jumps.
No way
So
to get out of it.
killed.
I mean, he's got oranges, but it's not always K. And that's the problem when you're running a Smite on this Gangplank. It is a very risky strategy. He is 0-2, however, keeping her living on the farm. He's got his Avarice Blade, so he will be just raking in the dough soon as it goes. Some vision down thanks to the Skull Crab, Gosu Pepper in that bottom side. Let's see what Unicorns do here. Again, they don't need to necessarily take these early dragons. Gambit, however, may be the ones that are more interested in it. Still, it's going to be all about these late game fights when they come.
I would like to see Unicorns go for this dragon now, because they have the TP advantage, because Coppershot is back in the top lane, and you want to start getting these dragons rolling, because if you look at this Gangplank in the late game, that can be so annoying to deal with for Unicorns of Love. So in that case, starting this potential snowball of dragons can be your way of always securing the late game with 5 dragons, and you have this opening with the TP advantage for Unicorns. So I'm not sure why they refuse to use it. As long as Betsy is sitting in the mid lane, you have vision of him, he's not going to create a pick with the charm, and you can walk into this dragon and set it up. But say if you want to contest it, you're going to 5 versus 4s, and we should be able to win that team fight. You have Trinity Force completed, and Pyra, we have the Stinger for Power of Evil, the Nashus Orianna.
You called it, and it's going to happen. How long we will have to see.
I don't want to call if it's good or bad, though, because I haven't really seen it when it comes to the overall damage it can deal.
Not a betting man, are you?
We will have to see. I mean, look how he's taking out a Crooks here. Look at his auto attack.
Those are pretty big auto attacks, I'll grant you that. But let's get back to this fight over the dragons, potential fight over the dragon. The Corki, not only is he sitting on the Trinity Force power spike, those 2 kills means he's gotten the gold even faster. Forgiven has been able to outfarm him, but that doesn't mean as much of a difference, so he does have a bit of the gold advantage. The itemization, you know, it's going to be Eye-Edge versus Triforce. Betsy, though, he could be the one that's going to get pincered in here. Sends a charm, completely goes nowhere. There's one Spirit Rush. He's got 2 more, but if he's locked up, he won't be able to do much. He's got 1, and he's going to be able to get out of the Cataclysm. A lot invested there on that bottom side. Forgiven turns on the heat. Vardax is going to have to Valk into a Razor Beaks.
Meanwhile, though, here, look at Gambit on the top side. Vardax!
Oh, that's a summoner heal away from going down. Forgiven might have put some fear in Vardax, but they are going to be able to secure a dragon here.
Gambit will take the top tower forward. Might even try and get a kill on Chachi.
Action all over the map. Well, the tree. He's trying to make like one leave.
Gambit has no damage
yet. Not yet. We're getting ahead of ourselves, but let's just take stock of this whole thing. Like right now, it's only 400 gold difference, but first dragon for Unicorns of Love. That'll give them that extra percentage AP and AD. Help them if they want to get in these fights. It looks like we're in for still pretty even in the towers, as Gambit will take one down. The mid still stands if Unicorns do want to take it, but they're taking their time about it.
Just making sure it clears out of some of the minions, Unicorns. Instead of looking towards the mid lane. The towers here dropping very fast. Both teams putting a lot of focus on taking down the outers. And also looking for these potential ganks against each other. Coppershot has been a target. Of course, you're running no flash. I mean, there's a big arrow above your head saying, come gank me, please. And at the same time, we have seen Gambit try and use Betsy, move him around the map a little bit. He obviously didn't manage to do anything in the bottom because he got ganked as well from Unicorns. But they got the dragon. Gambit responded by taking top tower. In my opinion, the right call from Gambit, saying we don't want to contest this dragon here. Again, we want to farm up with our Gangplank, so we just traded for the top lane tower.
They were able to make that trade. So as it stands, it's 3 towers to 2, but still that dragon advantage over to Unicorns. Still, what a wacky 17 minutes it has been. Can't wait to see what this Gangplank can get done. And by the way, if you guys are wondering, the last time we saw Gangplank grace the stage of the European LCS was over 2 years ago. Got to go back to the spring of 2013 when Cyanide played it. So somewhere right now, somewhere up in Finland, he's watching and wondering what's going to happen here as the GP ult's going to go ahead and clear the wave away. Unicorns cannot push this mid.
I once remember playing against Fnatic where Cyanide was playing the Gangplank jungle. We lost the game and it was sad.
Oh, you were in that game?
It was very, very sad.
I'm sorry to bring up bad memories.
I don't remember Cyanide doing a whole lot other than farming, but hey, this is what Gangplank is doing. He farms, then he goes late game, and he tries to one-shot you.
Thank you, our wonderful stats guy, Spellsy, for giving me that information. It's always fun to learn these kinds of things when you see a Gangplank in LCS, it is just an awesome day. Unicorns, however, are going to try to muscle their way in and finish this tower off. They will be able to do it. Still, sidewave pressure doubled up by Gambit thanks to Betsy and Cabochard. Can they make this pay off if they keep the pressure on in mid?
They have to be able to trade towers here, otherwise they need to move in towards this mid lane. The dive is happening.
Yeah, they looked for the Fat Man, but they couldn't quite secure him up. Forgiven, does he have enough damage to push them back? He doesn't have a culling. Diamond Prox can't flank around the side against all of them. The big shockwave pulls him in and takes him down. Betsy's still on the bottom, Cabo's still on the top, but this might be an early base race almost.
Well, I mean, you got minions now. Hylissang was tanking his TP for Cabochard.
Can they cancel it? No, not enough. In comes Cabo. He's going to eat an orange, but he's taken down. Why did he teleport in there? An inhibitor's going to get destroyed. We're not even 20 minutes into the game, Deficio.
Unicorn's just saying, we don't care about these players. Oh, Betsy.
Yeah, going in. There's the Spirit Rush. Power of Evil, however, is going to be able to take out Forgiven and get a double kill onto Betsy. They take an inhib down. Diamond Prox left scratching his head at what the hell just happened.
Gambit was setting up that 1-3-1 setup we mentioned with Betsy in one lane. Of course, Cabochard pushing the other one. But they were so slow that Unicorns had enough time to group mid lane and say, okay, where's your wave clear? There's a Lucian, that's about it. He can calling on one wave, and then he can't clear the next one, so we can just keep pushing. 5 members. Also remember, there's an attack speed Orianna, so she's gonna have a bit more effect on these towers. Porky with the Trinity Force, they just rush down towers. They even go for a bit of a setup dive from Gozo Pepper himself, knocking Chachi into him. But then the next one, look here how Gambit are pushing the side lanes. But they realize they won't be able to get these towers down in time before Unicorns can push further in. And then Cabochard, who's extremely squishy and very weak at this point, teleports in, and Unicorns like, okay.
Free kill. Yeah, that's some questionable decision making here, and the Gangplank probably operates a little bit best further from the action, you would think. They had a really good side push going, but they only really got one tower for it after all that. It ended up being the minions that secured it as they all spooked and backed away, but even after this, it was too late to do much. They grouped up, Gilius got the dunk on, and they just finished it off.
And
Big swing for Unicorn.
Betsy dashing into 5 members of Unicorns of Love, didn't even manage to create any distance or anything. 4 kills now for our Runeglaive Orianna, just got 3 of them into the wall.
Forgiven, you can't go that way, and now he might be going back to base, the short route. Power of Evil, 5 kills make that.
What attacks Pyra?
They're big. Out. They're big, man. It's like another spell.
But for Gambit here, you're running this Gangplank who needs 30 minutes of farming. You just lost everything in the mid lane. That means Unicorns now have so many openings. Vardax is stuck down the bottom lane, though.
He's getting the help from Visit Chachi. So, teleport is canceled at the end of it as Betsy repositions himself. They still have pressure on this top side. Gambit, they have got to cover for that big swing that Unicorns just got. It wasn't so much gold. It was only a few thousand, but that pressure momentum...
That's quite a lot at 20 minutes.
That's true. I keep forgetting this game's only 20 minutes in, so Unicorns have a pretty big edge right now. Let's see what they can do with it.
Yeah, Betsy just used his ulti, so he's not going to be able to do a whole lot in a fight, but Vardax is not here for the Unicorns of Love, so they want to disengage.
Cabochard is, however. Power's knocked back, but he's able to walk away from it all. Diamond Prox finds Chachi. They are going to try to force some action, but they just don't have the damage yet. Meanwhile, Super Minions streaming into the base right now. They've got to respond to this.
It is so key for Unicorns to open up that mid lane, because now you just have a free passage to walk into the enemy jungle, both sides, because you know the Super Minions are always going to be pushing in. You ward up everything like the Unicorns have done here, and you start playing in between the towers. Diamond now is in trouble.
Knocked into the team. There's no more a tower to fall back to. He's going to get popped. Gilius looked to go a little bit low, but able to tank through. Gosu Pepper couldn't quite get him. Betsy will be able to take down Hylissang, but it's going to be a Gragas falling down. Power of Evil going low. Betsy going in, gets the charm onto Chachi. Double kill over to Forgiven, and they get another kill courtesy of Cabochard. Vardags around the side. Can he get it? No. Cabo intercepts the rocket. Another one goes wide. Harley's on the Vardags. The rocket's still firing, but he's got to get out of there. There's no more backup.
Tried to snipe Betsy in the very end, but Gambit, they get a good fight. 4 kills. That's so important for them now. I mean, I feel like both the teams here are making some massive plays that could potentially either get Gambit back in the game, or of course for Unicorn, snowball the game completely out of control. They should never have to risk such a fight when you have an open inhibitor at 20 minutes in the mid lane. Instead, it's 4 members from the Unicorns. Vardax, look at your minimap. He's on his way. He's not there yet. So Unicorns just being a little bit too greedy for the tower, allowed Gambit to get some kills. Even Cabochard managed to pick up one on the gangplank. Betsy and Forgiven getting the rest. Giving Gambit a chance now at least. Key items being picked up. This was also the chance for Unicorns to start setting up for a potential early Baron because you had the super minions already coming. Someone had to deal with them. Just to get full vision control in the jungle, but that is gone now. Gambit has taken over that side of the jungle, and this is a 23-minute second dragon, so not really gonna be a thing. Power Viva though, we talked about the key items, Rune Glaive, Nashus, and then more standard AP, death cap for him now.
Well, he's certainly making this Orianna look like a very hyper-carrying mid lane. The damage is real from him between his auto attacks, between the spells. However, Gambit, they are going to take advantage of the momentary lapse as Unicorns took out the dragon, start on the Baron, but Hylissang's already caught wind of it, sniffs it out. He's eating a charm, goes in, gets the knockup on a Cabochard, gets an orange. He's not able to stop that. However, he did recover a bit of his HP, and now Gambit have turned around to try and get a couple of picks. Not going to happen, and Vizichachi is coming in for backup.
Gambit simply trying to get a respawn Baron with Unicorns taking their dragon, but now they are finally grouped up again. Betsy has ulti ready. Everyone from Gambit have it ready, honestly. Look for that one. Next fight, but we see this. I mean, both teams, there's so much action for them. They just want to fight, even though Cabochard is not there yet. The rest of the members are. I mean, Power Beetle is extremely fed. Have to remember, Nashus is 80 AP. And obviously Rune Glaive is 50 now also changed, so he's getting a decent amount of AP despite this build.
Gangplank ult, they got the slowdown. Can they get the flank off? Diamondprox is looking for it. They knocked Gilius and Vizichachi into the team, courtesy of Gosu Pepper. In comes a Twisted Fate. It's only going to pull Gosu Pepper. They take him out though. It's a 1-for-1 as Gilius went down in all of that. Gambit feel like they have the edge here. They don't necessarily need their support to chase down the rest. Play to the Rune King. Vardex is able to slow away Diamondprox. Tense moment for both teams, though.
Definitely seemed like Power Beetle was expecting the ball to be on Chachi, so when he went into the backline of Gambit, you could pull the shockwave, but it was just left outside. Only got Goes to Pepper, who's not been able to have... I mean, again, you're playing a melee support in this case who's never going to be that tanky. I mean, Goes to Pepper's job is just trying to knock either... basically annoy Power Beetle or the Unicorns Love, or knock him into Gambit so they can take him down fast on this Gragas here.
Yes, indeed. Now, as things have settled once again into a momentary lapse between all this craziness, back and forth across the map, Unicorns have this 2-dragon. It's going to be a long time if they want to look for Aspect as a win condition. I don't think that's really necessarily the plan, although this game has the potential to go very long despite that early in-hit. Gambit have recovered from this. Smack. They are not too far behind in the gold game, but they have to stop Unicorns from getting this vision around the Baron and keeping them in the dark.
For now, they're doing a good job. You can see how both of them are trading vision because there's not enough pink wards on the side of Unicorns. And that's always the key thing to look for. Yes, you might have good wards yourself, but if the enemy team can just place a green ward and you can't clear it out, you never really establish any control in the jungle, that is. Baron obviously is pink warded here from Unicorns of Love, and Gambit is staying around. So annoying when the other team is on purple side because it's so easy for them to sneak in and just place a ward or an ability over the wall to spot it. Hylissang instead.
Righteous Glory pop there.
He's going for Diamond.
Yeah, they're going to get Gilius on the front. He's going to tunnel his way in, but now he doesn't have an escape. No flash. Gambit, they might have to react to this if they want to try to save his life. There goes the Gangplank ulti. There goes the big barrel. They're not committing to it, though. From the backside, there's a Culling, but it's Vardags who picks up the kill onto the tanky Diamondprox. Meanwhile, Cabochard continues to push in the bottom. If they can keep their attention, it may be a worthy sacrifice.
Cabochard is still pretty far away from the base of Unicorns. He didn't use teleport because Diamond got caught out. That's what Unicorns were looking for. Gambit were very split up. Baron is started now.
Teleport coming in. He's a bit of a ways away. He didn't teleport to the Pixel Brush here.
There's still Shockwave, by the way.
Still a Shockwave. They have to respect this. There goes the Righteous Glory. Gosu Pepper scattering. Gilius, they're on to Forgiven. They're taking him down. That damage threat's gone. Gosu Pepper's going to be fired down as well. The rest of Gambit have to scatter and scurry away. Diamondprox may have an ulti in a few seconds and it'll back up. However, this Baron once again started for Unicorns and much safer.
Messy game here for both teams. Trading kills back and forth. People being out of position, but it's very entertaining to watch. With some of these new picks here. Unicorns can secure. Diamond is going in.
He's going in. Can he get it? No! It's going to be smited away by Gilius, and now Diamond's going down for a second time. Chachi's charmed up. However, the Fox does not want to go in on all 5 members. Betsy's going to have to burn his flash away, but it may not even be enough to get away. Rockets flying. Orbital Deception comes around the other side of it. He sets a charm. This time it's Gilius. There's the Shockwave. Power of Evil makes him disappear.
10 kills now for Power of Evil. What a performance so far. Unicorns of Love are winning the fights around Baron. First they created the pick. We were just talking about how they were lacking pick wards to deny vision from Gambit. But then you have Talisman, you have Righteous Glory, you have the Orianna speed. So as soon as Gambit was split up, Forgiven was sitting in the mid lane, Diamond in the jungle. They found that one pick here. Managed to secure the Baron. Unicorns is still looking strong. Power of Evil, Rylai's 4 items now, currently sitting on 616 AP. And obviously that extra damage as well on his auto attacks. He's also going to slow you down even more.
This game is a crash course in interesting uses of Runeblade, Deficio.
Yeah, it is.
We've got another minute on this next dragon. Unicorns have the map control to be able to take it. They've cleared out the side wave pressure that Gambit had been able to get thanks to Cabochard going down to the bottom to push things out, and a wave that was pushed to the top. Cabo's back in top lane, but they've got to go quick to maybe defend this mid here against a Baron up Unicorns of Love.
Yeah, and Cabochard has to be able to get an impact now. He has 3 items completed. We're talking about 30 minutes. We're close to it at least. Start looking at the crits against these squishy targets here, but basically what he can do because he's so squishy is just stay back and just fire his Q over and over. He's never really able to run in an auto attack unless they're already winning the fight on the side of Gambit because he has 0 defensive stats on his side. So that's very key in how you can play team fights with this Runeblade Gangplank. And it often, it's basically rolling the dice. If you get the crit onto like Vardax, it might look awesome and you can win the fight for your team. If you don't, however, your impact is super low in these team fights.
It's definitely a toss-up for Gambit, and so far it has not paid off completely for them as Unicorns secure a 3rd dragon in this game. We're approaching the 30-minute mark, just hitting it now. Gambit definitely have to start making use of this. The Unicorns may not be too keen on giving them that opportunity.
No, and with both Chachi and Power of Evil scaling really well into the late game as well, it's not like Unicorns have a bad late game setup. Obviously, the main problem for them is heavy amounts of magic damage, Corki falling off as a carry as well. Then the fact that Chachi, Power of Evil, and 50% of Vardax damage is all the same is going to be a problem. But setting up from a tempo dive, Cabochard again is split pushing, which is allowing Unicorns to just group and poke down these towers. Super Runeblade, remember, he procs on towers. Well,
to be the old. They've knocked Gilius back in. Chachi's twisted, advancing his way in, but Gilius is going to be flag and dragging his way out. It just seems so safe for these Unicorns. They draw so much attention, don't quite take down the tower, but they're all perfectly fine. Visit Chachi, the only one really scratched up Gilius a bit as well.
Just keep looking at the tower HP. Whenever Power of Evil and Vardax hit it, it's the sheen from both of them, from Runeblade and Trinity Force. It's very quick at poking it down for the Unicorns of Love. Diamond, he's going in.
They've got to make something happen here. This is the time it counts. Diamond going in, going low, however, and absolutely demolished. Gilius now is going to go for the dunk, but he does manage to grab Cabochard before he falls down as well.
That might be Pyra.
They're going to try to end this one right here. A quadra kill, just like that for the Orianna. Can he secure it up? Yes, he can. A pentakill for Power of Evil.
Runeblade, Orianna getting a pentakill in the first game of the Unicorns of Love.
Prepare your solo queues for that one.
What a performance.
But for now, a standing ovation for Power of Evil as they will secure a win here over Gambit Gaming and stand alone in 4th place.
What a fun game to watch.
Oh man, yes it was.
Power of Evil can be very proud after that performance, but oh, Power, Runeblade, Orianna.
You thought you'd seen everything, didn't you?
I mean, I don't know what to expect anymore. This is what I really like about the meta we've seen in Season 5. There's been so many different picks, so many small things that can just make one pick work suddenly. I mean, we've gone from Master Yi mid lane, we've seen FLICKR play, Froggen has been spamming it in solo queue. That was suddenly a thing, and then now we see Runeblade, Orianna. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be a meta pick at all, but in this case here, because Unicorns of Love managed to group so early and had Trinity Force, Corki, and Runeblade, Orianna to take down these towers, Gambit just didn't know what hit them. They were setting up 1-3-1 split pusher, being like, oh, okay, you're not going to push that fast, are you? And then suddenly 3 towers is down in the mid lane, and Gambit's like, what?
Yeah. I said in Champ Select I wasn't a huge fan of Power Evil's Orianna.
Well, shame on you,
I was
Pyra.
wrong. I'm happy to report. By the way, he's had like, across the 4 games he's played on this split so far, he's had 10 kills. 1.5 that. I can do math, by the way. It's just, it doesn't always come, but this guy had such a massive performance, and it was because they were able to group. It was because they were able to realize, oh, Kabashard's going to side push. Kabashard is going to be doing this. He's trying to get relevant. We can force the pressure our way. And decisive victory, something that the Unicorns had been lacking for several weeks.
The Gangplank needed 30 minutes to be relevant. Unicorns a lot didn't give him 30 minutes. They had already taken down half the base of Gambit before that before the Infinity Edge was completed for Kabashard. He never managed to have much of an impact on the game. And it looked okay for Gambit in the start. Like, they were playing the laning phase fairly solid. They were trying to trade towers a little bit and just make sure they got farm on Kabashard as much as possible. But then once we got to the mid game, that's where Gambit failed to use the Arya and Lucian to create picks for themselves, to get a bit of an advantage that could buy more time for Kabashard. And we just saw Unicorn say, you know what? We got attack speed Orianna, we got double Sheen. We're going to group very early on and just start taking them towers. If you don't react in time, your base is gone. And that's exactly what happened. Mm-hmm. It then led into a poor team fight from Unicorns, and we had it very much back and forth. I mean, everyone was everywhere, but this, like, these two teams, that's why they're also fighting, still fighting for a playoff spot, because, you know. This
was the magic that the Unicorns just didn't seem to have as much this split. They've got themselves one on the board.
Destroyed yesterday.
They did, and this is a complete turnaround. This is just absolutely massive for them, and it's got to be such a confidence booster. Ending week 8, not only did you get this massive win, first Pentakill, by the way, in the LCS in Europe in this summer. Thank you once again, Spellsy. Big plays all across the board.
And of course, for the main carry on the Unicorns of Love. 15 kills in the game here for Power Vivo. He is the guy they're always building the comps, or try to build the comps around. And this game here, it worked. Still, it's the same story. Getting completely destroyed yesterday by SK Gaming. Who's number 9 in the standings, by the way.
Yep.
Today, suddenly they outplay Gambit, make some good moves the Gambit cannot respond to, and they win a game. I mean, I have no clue.
Just win a game is like one way to put it, but I think we'll have to see what our analysts make of it. Go ahead and take it away, guys, as you're talking to the 4th place Unicorns of Love.
Yeah, perfect, actually. We're talking to Power Vivo and Vardax, and I'm going to just repeat what the Fisho said. Can't make sense of it. Got destroyed yesterday versus SK Gaming, and then this game today. So honestly, what happens from a day from Thursday to Friday when things like this happen with the Unicorns?
I think we were all a bit shaken up after yesterday. I think we expected to go in a lot stronger into the games, and then stuff happened and things didn't go as planned, and yeah, we kind of lost. So yeah.
Speaking about things going as planned or not going as planned, looking at the draft in this game, Vardax, were you expecting the Gangplank after seeing the bans before?
Well, the ban yesterday kind of, it gave us the idea that it might happen. So we had it in our mind and we kind of planned for it a bit, that it might like occur in this match. But we were definitely surprised with how they picked Gragas and Rek'Sai, and we kind of expected Gragas to go top, and then Gangplank happened. So
a lot of surprises in this game. One of them will be the Orianna. Now, I was checking your solo queue account a couple of weeks back and saw Orianna just in a load of games with Smite. Walk us through it. What's the thought process behind it, Power Vivo?
Well, so I tried to build an item build around not picking a Fiends, because I really dislike a Fiends on Arena. I feel like I go out of mana way too fast in a lot of team fights, and if I don't get the resets, you have a huge problem. So I was going for the Tia Morelos item build a lot of times, but it is a lot of scaling and you get really slow, really like much damage. So I tried the Runeclave Orianna. You have a lot of mana for the Sheen, you have early game pressure with the Red Smite, and with the Nashors combined you do a lot of damage with auto attacks, around 300 if you have Rabadons afterwards, and it's all just stacking. Nashor's damage, normal auto attack, Orianna passive, and then if you have Red Smite, you do like 400 damage every auto attack, and with Runeclave 700 damage auto attack, so you pretty much are like a good AD carry.
There you go. Perfect. And on top of that, you also had a good AD carry in Vardax by your side. Forgiven coming out with the Lucian once again. Of course, yesterday it had a victory. How do you think it did in this game? How do you think your game went on Corki?
I think Forgiven is always scary when he plays on Lucian. I think that's the reason he picked up the first win on Lucian in the actual LCS. So I think we did pretty decent. It was kind of passive and just farming up, but you always kind of have to respect when he plays something like Lucian or Graves.
Yeah, definitely have to respect that power coming out of that. And the power coming out of Power of Evil, we have the replay of your Pentakill. You said you were still nervous after we're going to pull it up on the screen so that you can look at it again. Tell me about the comms as well at that point. Are you screaming, give me that Penta? You can roll the clip.
Well, so after I got the triple kill, I was really excited. I wanted to get the quadra on Lucian, so I flashed QW out attacked him. And you can see like the item build, it's like 2 spells, 1 out attack, and the guy is dead. So afterwards, I'm like screaming, let me the Penta! And everyone is like using everything on Ari, and I'm like getting, surprisingly, the Pentakill.
Your teammates tried to dupe you there, or what?
Well, I actually think they tried to just CC her, but it was like getting so close on like 1 HP or something, Ari, so I was like, no!
Were you trying to just CC her? Oh, you can't, obviously, but were you trying to kill her?
Yeah, I obviously wanted to give him the Penta, so I missed the rocket on purpose.
And all the other times? Oh, just kidding.
Wow. Shots fired.
I'm sorry.
One thing we kind of wanted to touch on just before we let you go. Kickers obviously left the team last week. How is the mentality now in the team? You've got Gilius for this week. How has it been for you guys?
I think like it was pretty weird because obviously we played with Kickers for a long time, and now for the first time playing with a different jungler. I think mentality-wise we're fine. Like we're the same old team of players, but we kind of have to adapt and we kind of have to adjust to playing with someone new.
I think our scrims in the last week is a little bit better motivation-wise. Like it's normal. I think if a new player comes in, I think all the old members, inclusive me, is like a little bit more motivated now. Again, like getting like a fresh start. And we expected this week to be rough because it's like a new jungler, we need new synergy, but we will try our best to like get successful, and we actually expected to come on stronger from our scrims performance. So we were actually pretty surprised of yesterday's performance and kind of shocked, I would say, as well.
Talking about expectations, of course, you guys are the #2 team coming out of the playoffs in spring. So what are you thinking in terms of making that playoff spot and what you guys can do? Is it constantly lingering? Just give us those best of 5s because we're so good in that.
I think for us, we obviously right now the goal is just to make playoffs because we're 8-8 right now and there are 2 more games to go. Last split we went 9-9 in the regular season, so we want to make it a bit better and go 10-8. And yeah, we just aim for playoffs and hopefully do as good as we did last split.
Well, we are aiming to take the first win from Fnatic, so we hope next week they're going to win at Thursday and we win against them in front.
There we go.
Show the magic. We
will see if that happens. You did it before, so well, congratulations, fantastic victory, fantastic Pentakill. And now for a look at who raked in the most fantasy points today, we're going to hand it over to Quickshot.
Thank you very much, Sharks. Unicorns of Love fans are having a fantastic day. Not only did the team seize 4th place after that crazy game, Power of Evil is our fantasy MVP. He picked up 15 kills, 3 assists on a Smite Orianna, Pentakill to close the game out in style. He earned just under 48 points today. Something that's impressive, he was started on over 52% of fantasy teams. And unfortunately, he's on my bench. Now, with the playoff race coming down to the wire, we also wanted to highlight the 5 OP pros that pulled out all of the stops this week. Let's kick things off with somebody who is on my fantasy roster. It is Nukeduck. He picked up 44% kill share. He dealt 40% of his team's damage, playing both Victor and Varus. And we're finding that Nukeduck is coming into his groove just a little more as the weeks are rolling on. His Varus is still arguably his strongest champion, though. And Rocket, maybe that late season surge for playoffs. Next up, a man that also turned his fate around, it was Freeze. He went deathless this week at 24 KDA, and that performance earlier today was absolutely phenomenal. 18-0-6. Always in the right position, always dealing the right amount of damage, and the Copenhagen Wolves pulling off what I consider the biggest upset of the summer split. So congratulations to Freeze and the Wolves for keeping their hopes alive just a little bit longer. The other team who's hoping to knock Copenhagen Wolves out of the promotion tournament is going to be Enrated and SK. Enrated pulled out Shen this week in both of his games, 2-5-23, showing that he can definitely add Shen to the must ban or must consider resolution. A lot of good taunts, pretty good laning phase, and also the fact that it can play bait because Freddy likes to play it as well. Next up on our list is going to be another mid laner. It's going to be Froggen. He continues to show up, the metronome of elements, if you will. 48% damage share in 2 games of Varus. He was roaming yesterday for some early kills in other lanes rather, to help out his team and really just continuing to show that Froggen is relevant, but unfortunately not always picking up the wins that Elements needs. They're fighting for their lives to make it to the playoffs. Finally, how can we not have Power of Evil once more? We've added him as our 5th player. So chance from the audience. Pentakill on that Smite TP Orianna. Fantasy MVP. 15 kills today. You know what? If PoE goes huge, then the Unicorns might go huge once more in the playoffs. So that's our 5 OPs. The Penta coming in at the end. Exquisite. Congratulations to Power of Evil and Unicorns of Love and everybody else on our OP5. But to wrap up who the MVP is for the week, we're going to head back over to Shox and the gang for a look at the most valuable player.
Thank you so much, Quick Shot. Yeah, well, that Pentakill delivered the OP for Power of Evil, but yesterday we already kind of knew who could be an MVP, and he made it through today, going all in with Worlds on the horizon. Fnatic's Huni playing Riven yesterday, playing the all-full AD in your face. Jarvan today, again, a fantastic week for him.
He had a few quiet weeks in the middle where he was doing solidly and doing very well, but not really making the name for himself we saw in spring. However, this week he was crushing the competition, ahead an average of 60 CS at 20 minutes in both games this week, with some very unorthodox picks when you look at things from the European side of the world.
Yeah, more picks to consider against Huni, but we really have to highlight this is Fnatic as a team setting up Huni to get these kills here in the late game, especially on the Jarvan. He was shot down early on, but then because Fnatic is playing it so well and punish mistakes and have the fantastic vision control, Huni gets to play the carry role in the end.
He just plays so well around pressure. Elements obviously had a counter to him in the Janna in these team fights, so if they grouped up against each other, Huni would have issues trying to find somebody to get out. So he later in the game he just managed to sneak around, get one pick here, and once he gets that one kill going, he just went on a rampage, sniped out tabs in the river, later followed up on Froggen in the jungle too. And then if you give them an inch, like they'll take everything. Fnatic as a team holistically and Huni as a player too, and it's phenomenal to see how he came in just unknown, say half a year ago, and he's totally dominating top lane, and he's people are saying, yeah, world class.
World class, we'll see in a couple
in
a couple of weeks, maybe. And well, Huni, it's now the I think 3rd or 4th MVP for an individual player already for Fnatic this split. Wow, on form. Well, it was a crazy day, and with just 2 games left for each team in the summer split, let's pull up the standings, take a look at that playoff picture. Obviously, Fnatic still reigning supreme there, 16-0. Then Origin and H2K in that battle for 2nd place. Super interesting evolution just across the 2 days. Gambit, they were doing great yesterday. Then today they lost, so typical EU LCS all over.
Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, our middle-of-the-table teams remain inconsistent. We just thought Gambit were getting better and better. Now they look to be the stronger of like Giants and Unicorns and Love, and then we have a game like this here where Unicorns honestly had a fairly easy time once we hit the mid game to just get a massive lead. It's tough to say. I think the best out of 5 is obviously going to be the big turning point for these teams, but you got to get to playoff first, and they're all fighting for it.
I'm just watching the Wolves right now. The graphics showed it eliminated from playoffs, so that dream is dead, but that dream was long gone, and they were shooing for auto relegation, and they said that an impossible task. They have to win 3 games. SK have to lose all 3, but it's not unlikely if it keeps happening like this, so at least that's what I'm going to keep my eyes on next week.
Who knows? Super crazy. Well, let's take a look at what our matchups are for Week 9 on the Thursday, as there is so incredibly a lot on the line in that race to playoffs. We're going to start things off with those Copenhagen Wolves after they take on Roccat. We have SK versus Fnatic, H2K, OG, our game of the week there. They're all fantastic. What are you guys keeping the biggest eye on?
I think the real tense one is the Copenhagen Wolves game, because now they're in basically super sudden death against SK. Whichever team either in Copenhagen Wolves situation loses or SK wins, that's it. Copenhagen Wolves are done. They have to have SK lose and they win to even be in that spot for going into day 2.
I just keep looking at the middle of the standings here with these teams fighting. We have Unicorns taking on Giants, basically a head-to-head match for playoff spots. We have Gambit versus Elements as well. Elements want to try and make sure they don't go down to the promotion tournament. And Gambit obviously want to bounce back now and show they are a serious contender in the playoffs as well. So super exciting matches there.
Yeah, if you guys are watching that, I'll just watch Fnatic.
That's fine, you get Fnatic.
They're 16-0 right now. They're on the verge, on the cusp of going 18-0, and then there's always a debate. How much are they experimenting right now? Is Fnatic holding back in terms of practice? Are they going lighter on the schedule? Are they really concerned about that win streak? Do they even care? Because the fans care, but does Fnatic as a team really care about about that win streak and which is the Fnatic that is showing up these weeks. Yes, you can argue they stall with that late game composition, and of course late game is going to shine, but there are, I wouldn't call it cracks, but there's room for other teams to play against them. But I'm not quite sure if this is the full throttle Fnatic. I feel like they're still charging up, and
we'll see in
playoffs will definitely confirm a lot of suspicions, and then people can start, you know, calling out each other.
We will see what happens, but Week 9 will be incredibly exciting. So mark your calendars because things will get underway at 6 p.m. Central European Time. That is 9 a.m. Pacific. Whether you're ready or not, well, we're ready already. Anyway, until then, be sure to tune into the North American LCS on Saturday when Teams over in Los Angeles will be bringing you Cloud9 versus Enemy Esports, Team Impulse versus TSM, and a match between CLG and Team Liquid. Also, so much important action there, as always, gets underway at 9 p.m. Central European Time. That is noon Pacific. And with that, that's all for us here in Berlin on behalf of myself and everyone here at the European LCS. Thank you for joining us, and be sure to meet us back here next week for the final games of the 2015 Summer Split.
Everybody's getting quite excited.
Who's a handsome boy?
You are, Crampo. They've traded 1-for-1 and Audrey's velked in aggressively, but now he's left for dead. Frederick's going in solo on the side. Giants, this is a little messy, and he's going to have to drag his descent away. The giant tree of Steve is chasing and running and rooting, and Rocket keep their playoff hopes alive. Rocket! Ottawa that taunts his way out and stays alive! Jan has joined this fight late. Bossbomb is out, he's hurting, but it's a double kill for Freeze. The Cocoon! The Copenhagen Wolves will cause the biggest upset of the summer split. The heartthrob Peke playing the heart seeker Varus. From a body slam of Amazing, gonna get more. Soas was burning down Foss, and Freddy's looking for the kill, holding on to sole position of second place.
Might be the one going down, however, speared by Froggen, or rather arrowed down. Reckless gets the knockback and gets the pickup, and this game is all but over. 34 minutes on the board. Fnatic keep the streak going as Dexter just tries desperately to hang on.
Ari, triple dash for himself.
Oh! Armady!
Oh, I'm not sure what to expect from this gameplay.
A quadra kill just like that for the Oriana. Can he secure it up? A standing ovation as they will secure a win here over Gambit Gaming.